Welcome everybody to the Laying It Down podcast, where we talk about everything wrestling. In tonight's episode, we got Luke Pedtke in the building. Welcome in, Luke.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We've known each other for a while now, and it was definitely time to bring you on. And like I said before, like we never really got before like this kind of face-to-face conversation, that like this platform to do so, because we're always trolling, whether it's you or me, mostly you know, but it's nice to have you on, man.
Yeah, this is honestly our first face-to-face thing that we've done. I mean, I think so, yeah.
And we already have questions coming in, so like we're gonna get to those as soon as we get started with this. And for chat, if I don't get to see your messages right away, I do apologize. I do want to put my attention towards Luke and his time here. So if I don't see your message, I do apologize, but our mods will be able to answer them if they are needed. So first of all, one of our first questions that we like to bring for our guests, whether it was Couch Talk or if it's the Laying It Down podcast now, is to introduce yourself to everybody here. I'm sure you know a lot of the people that are in this chat already, and there might be some people that don't know who you are. So if you can, introduce yourself to the chat, if you stream or not, where people can find you, and anything that you'd like the chat to know about young Grasshopper Luke.
Hello, everybody. My name is Luke. I'm a 21-year-old college student, and I am the co-host of Pro Wrestling Unlimited. It is a wrestling podcast that is streamed on Twitch, YouTube, and on all other like streaming platforms. Normally, I'm on there on Mondays and some Wednesdays as well. We do wrestling reviews. We'll like review Raw, what we thought about it, what we think might happen in the future. Same thing, we do that for AEW as well. And also, I don't do this, but I know my friend Tim, who's the main guy who controls everything, he'll also report wrestling news, like kind of, but like he'll say stuff like Fightful reported this by giving them the credit. So we give people also a lot of wrestling news as well. And sometimes we also do predictions for upcoming pay-per-views or premium live events as well. So, and I used to stream. I haven't really streamed in a while. You know, my life has just been getting pretty busy lately. But if you guys want to find me, you can find me over at PWUnlimited, or you can find me over at Twitter as well.
Hell yeah, Luke. And like, I kind of even forgot. One of my questions is like sort of how we met, but I want to make sure I like get to some of the chat's questions too. So welcome, Luke. And like, yeah, if anybody wants to follow Luke during this interview, !guest, as you can see above, if you type that in chat, you'll be able to follow him. You'll be able to see the Unlimited podcast that he's referencing and his personal Twitch channel too, and their social media. So definitely go check those out. We have a lot of people that know you that are in the chat, so I'm gonna go through. We'll start with two of the questions that came in from chat. The first one being from Only Good Vibes, being, why do you like to troll JLD?
Because it's funny, and I get a good rise out of you, which that makes it even more fun. And it's more fun to see other people do it as well, so I like to follow and engage with it as well.
Well, you met the right community for that, because that's literally what all of our community does. Like, I think a lot of us have known each other since like 2021, 2022. So you kind of joined in like around the 2023 time when I started making like wrestling content. So the fact that you're fitting in so well is just like amazing. Like, I see you in chats everywhere, like that I wouldn't think that I'd see you in, because I haven't seen some streamers in a while, and I'll see you there and I'm like, oh shit, Luke's already in there showing mad love.
You know who I have to thank for that? Biggie Sweats.
Really?
Yes,
oh wow, okay.
Because I joined the Drip Squad and I was going through people who were on the Drip Squad, and I found you. That's how I met you.
Oh, okay, interesting. Because I used to self promo on like the Discord there, like for a while. I think I'm still in it, but that's interesting. I didn't know that about how you like met our channel and stuff. So that's really cool. No,
and before that, like I saw your TikToks. I was like, oh, it's another like wrestling content creator. That's cool. Like, I didn't really think much of it. And then when I saw your Twitch, I was like, hey, I remember that guy. That guy's the wrestling content creator on TikTok.
Got the job at WWE and stuff. That's freaking cool, man. I didn't know about the Biggie Sweats thing. I haven't been to stream in a while, but I know he's doing great. So I hope everything's going well with him. That's really cool. Cam Combos, another wrestling fan. If you had to main event with one or more wrestlers, who are you picking and why? Maybe any kind of match. Maybe one on. Let's make it simple. 1-on-1. Who would you like to main event against?
That's a good question. I know I've always wanted to see AJ Styles versus Kenny Omega.
Ooh.
Like I've always wanted to see that match, like back when Kenny was in New Japan, because I was really hoping for him to sign with WWE just so I can see that match. But I don't think we'll ever see that match anytime soon, though. But that is like one match I'd really love to see, or possibly like a triple threat with Kenny, AJ, and Finn.
All Bullet Club.
Yep, I was really hoping for that match, like before AEW started.
And like I was just talking with Mrs. JLD too about like kind of how AEW started, how like it was called All In, like it was like an independent Ring of Honor show before AEW became a thing, and it just became so successful that like they actually made it into a real thing. And like just seeing those names, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, even going back all the way to like Wrestle Kingdom when they first like kind of fought in New Japan, like it's just crazy how that snowballed into what we know today. I was just watching again Forbidden Door with Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the US title from last year. What a match, bro. What a freaking match.
Oh yeah. It is crazy how like well they can be in the ring together. Like it's nuts.
It almost complements each other. It's almost like they've obviously been doing it forever, but like it almost seems like they're just seasoned veterans at that point.
And Will Ospreay, I don't know if he's really considered a vet though. I mean, he's still pretty young.
Mm-hmm. He's a young
I know
guy.
he's been doing it for a while though.
There's a YouTube video you should check out. I forgot the name of the creator of the video, but it's like a 40-minute or an hour-long YouTube video of the evolution of Kenny Omega and Ospreay, and it goes through every match they've gone through together. It's almost like a chronological storyline, and that channel does it for other things too. I think they did CM Punk when he first joined. They did it when he left, when he got fired. It's a really good channel. I'll send it to you after this. Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. Boo, bro.
I think we've seen that match before.
Then I definitely got to see it because I have not seen that match.
I know they've fought on the indies, but give me that match under Triple H though.
Give them creative control though of the match. Like don't have it 100% Triple H, because then I feel like the production team will kind of make it too PG versus what they want to show. Will Ospreay versus Josh Alexander, that's good too. But Ricochet in the indie scenes was great too.
It was Prince Puma. I know WWE doesn't have like the license for the gimmick Prince Puma, but I know they can buy the trademark, and I would love to see like Prince Puma as like an alter ego for Ricochet in WWE. How like Finn Balor has the demon.
Yeah.
Like Prince Puma can be like the alter ego for Ricochet.
And Michael Cole kind of hinted at it a few weeks ago. He said Ricochet was moving around like a puma, or is like fast as a puma. So maybe they're already in the process of that.
You never know. Anything could happen in the wrestling world. You never know.
So let's backtrack a little bit to what got you into wrestling, and like when did you start watching it?
This is a good story. You're gonna love this actually.
All right, let's go.
So I was in 3rd grade, and then I went to GameStop with my older brother. He had a gift card to like buy a video game, and you know how GameStop sometimes they'll have like those like displays of like testing out a game, see if you like it or not. I don't know if they still do that, but at the time they had WWE All Stars, and I was playing that game. I was Ultimate Warrior, and my brother was Rey Mysterio, and I was like, Jesus, this game is awesome. I didn't have enough money at the time to buy the game, but I saved up money and I got the game. I started playing it. I never watched WWE before that, but I just knew that game was awesome. And that game has basically got me into wrestling. Like when does this stuff air on TV and stuff? My first show was a Friday night SmackDown. The main event was
hell yeah,
Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio versus Kane, and the winner would face Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship. Ever since then, I've been watching wrestling like nonstop.
And that was probably after Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan for it, like at WrestleMania, right? When he beat him in like 5 seconds. It's like
it was 18. I never understood that at the time.
Yeah.
I never understood that.
And what an interesting pick too, in terms of like your first game from them, because a lot of people, when they like started watching wrestling, it was during the SmackDown versus Raw days, when it was like SmackDown versus Raw, 06, 07, 08, blah, blah, blah. Even back then was like No Mercy and Warzone, which I do want to stream Warzone one of these days. So that's an interesting pick. I actually didn't play All Stars. It was like a little different because of like, I think they had like the jacked bodies in that game, right? Like Hulk Hogan, like Ultimate Warrior.
Every wrestler was jacked in that game. Even like the smaller guys were always jacked.
Yeah, I remember that from that. I think.
I thought it was a really fun game though. Like it really was. Like even though it wasn't like 2K or anything, it was still a really fun game to play.
If it wasn't for 2K 23, 24, the games that I was playing back then was all the SmackDown versus Raws. And I think one of the things I liked doing was the creator wrestlers. I just like making people. That was like the fun thing for me.
The first 2K that I have ever gotten was 2K12, and I would always create like just random wrestlers all the time. And same with my brother. We would always like create like new people. I think craziest one, we just created a guy in a gorilla suit and gave him the Undertaker entrance.
They give you the silliest stuff too, because they know everybody's gonna make these ridiculous characters. Like even now in 24, like
I've seen so many TikToks of people having like the craziest wrestlers for like My Rise and stuff.
they'll make Mickey Mouse, they'll have like Tom and Jerry, which I think was a match on our Celebrity Death Match. They be making
Grimace.
some crazy people. Grimace, that was so funny. Oh my god, that was such a good moment. We need to bring back Celebrity Death Match. So eventually in 24, when more people make like the characters and cartoons, then we'll bring it back.
It's too early for Celebrity Death Match right now.
Yeah.
We gotta wait for people to start getting the game and stuff.
We gotta bring
because the game just came out.
We gotta bring back Amaranth. No one's made Amaranth yet.
That's surprising, actually.
Kanye West versus Pete. Yo, that was one of the first matches we had too. Kanye West versus Pete Davidson, back when they were beefing. So that was funny. It's pretty uncommon to get people into wrestling from the games. Usually TV is getting you to buy the game. Yeah, it seems almost like the opposite, but that's still freaking awesome. At least we all know Raw's Mondays. SmackDown always varied based on the year, but usually it was Fridays like it is now, but used to also be Thursdays too back in the day, or even Tuesday.
My friend Tim, who I PWUnlimited with, he told me a story when he was a kid. One of his friends, he moved into a new town, and one of his neighbors, who eventually became his friend, asked him like, "Hey, do you want to come over and watch Raw?" And he's like, "What's Raw?" He's like, "Just come over. I'll show you." He started watching Raw. I think this was like the Ruthless Aggression era. No, I think it was like the Attitude era, actually. And he watched it, and that's how he got into wrestling. And he told me like wrestling actually helped one of his relatives speak English.
Oh,
because
wow.
one of his relatives didn't speak English, and pro wrestling helped him speak English.
That's freaking cool, man. And I know they do film like they do the recordings of Raw and SmackDown on the Hispanic channels, for example. So like when I used to go to my grandparents' house, I would see Raw there, and it would be in Spanish. So that's cool that's like a thing.
Yeah, I was like, geez, that is actually very impressive. Because I know like for the wrestlers, they don't really like change their language. They just stick them with English, but they'll have like the Hispanic wrestlers like translate for them, which is actually very helpful.
And it works.
It really does work.
It's a global company, and if they could get people to tune into WWE, then the more the merrier. That's why they've expanded to Saudi. They've expanded to other parts of the world. They're going to France in May. They went to London last year. All these different places. They're going global, and they're not stopping.
Oh yeah, they're not stopping. They're not leaving Saudi anytime soon. That's a big money maker for them.
They make more on that than WrestleMania.
Which is crazy.
It's almost scary. Like, bro, like all they have to do is 2 shows a year, and they already made most of their money, payroll and everything.
I mean, why do you think Triple H does more like international shows? Because like you make more money out of that. They've had more like premium live events in like other countries than here, like last year and this year. Like they're doing Backlash in France. They're gonna do a show in Berlin as well. Like
Bash Berlin's gonna be
that's
wild.
how you make more money.
They're going to Canada for Money in the Bank. I'm sure there's gonna be more. They do 2 Saudi shows a year. I think that's the requirement, is 2 Saudi shows a year, like a part of their agreement. Last year was Puerto Rico, which technically is the US still, but like it's a demographic that doesn't get wrestling shows like that, so it's still gonna be popular. The Saudi shows, and where else did they go? I'm blanking out right now. Where else did they go last year? But they went to a good amount of places.
They went to England, I think, or London.
Yeah, for Money in the Bank, they went to London. Correct.
Yeah.
I just wish I could have went to WrestleMania, but that's a whole nother story.
That's my goal, like in the future, is to eventually make it to a WrestleMania.
Have you been before or not yet?
I have not been before. I've been to SummerSlam. I've been to Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble. I've been to a Battleground.
Battleground. That was so long ago, right? Battleground.
Yeah, it's been a while since it's that Battleground main roster. I think they switched it to NXT.
Yeah, true. That's what they did with all the old pay-per-views. They just gave them to NXT, like Vengeance and Great American Bash. Like they just gave them to NXT and gave WWE like the main ones that we see today. Let me do one. I'll do one more question, then I'll continue with the chat. So, who is your favorite wrestler, and who is also your least favorite wrestler, and why?
Oh man. So when I first started watching wrestling, it was obviously Cena. Like my top 3 when I was a kid was Cena, Sheamus. No one's gonna like this third one, but it was Ryback.
Ryback, the big guy.
When I was a kid, I loved Ryback for some reason. Like I thought his gimmick at the time was great for kids.
He making waves now on TikTok though, that's for sure, blocking everybody left and right. Cam's like, oh hell nah.
No, but right now I don't care for Ryback at all. I mean, I think he's gone a little nuts, but when I was a kid, I used to love him.
Like, I have nothing against Ryback, but I know he's said a lot of things lately, and like he's just a blocker. He blocks everybody that says anything about him, and he just has like negative things to say, and he's just in the negative limelight right now, but whatever.
And as far as my least favorite wrestler, I hated Chris Jericho and Wade Barrett on my television.
Oh wow.
I hated Wade Barrett, but once I got older and like started to realize what was actually going on, I loved both of them.
How do you feel about Wade Barrett now, knowing that like Cena was probably the reason the Nexus didn't go over back at that SummerSlam? Do you think it would have helped them if the Nexus did win?
It definitely would have helped the Nexus to win, but I don't think it was really Cena's fault. I think that was more of a Vince move because Cena has always said that he's willing to lose if it was for the right purpose. Because I don't think that was really Cena's fault though. I think that was mostly Vince, which I do agree that the Nexus probably should have won, but at the same time, I just don't think it was Cena's fault because I know a lot of people blame Cena for that, but I just don't think it was his fault.
That's usually what the popular opinion is, that oh, Cena buried the Nexus because he wanted to win. And to that, I always say this, like, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. We could get all the Vince Russo or Dave Meltzer reports that we want. We don't know what the conversations are behind the scenes. Maybe Cena was responsible, but also maybe Cena wasn't responsible, and Vince probably just said, nah, I want Cena to win. I want Cena to be the good guy. That's my thoughts.
And also Cena made a lot of money in merchandise sales when he was like a full-time guy. So maybe that was the reason. He was probably just like, Cena's making too much money in merchandise, so we gotta keep him strong.
Because that's what it comes down to, is like merch sales. Roman Reigns right now is like one of the top. Like
that's why Cena never turned heel, because back in 2012, Cena wanted to turn heel. He had merchandise and a theme song ready for his heel turn. But Vince said no because you're making too much money in merchandise.
That's the cost of doing business. But
yeah, and Cena eventually said that was probably the one thing that I appreciated most out of Vince was he stopped me from turning heel.
And who knows, maybe if Cena would have went heel, maybe his character wouldn't have gone as far. Maybe it would have actually lowered his like possibility of like coming back. Like if maybe contract expired or something, maybe it wasn't going as far. And you kind of see it with like Jimmy Uso in a way where like now that he's heel, he's kind of just there in the bloodline, just like acting like the silly bad guy. Then what? Now what is more of the question. It would be interesting to see though, but I wonder what would happen if like that were a real thing, Cena turning heel.
I mean, we've kind of seen heel Cena when he had the Thugonomics gimmick. He was basically a heel during that.
Yeah, and that was a freaking funny time, I will say.
That was a weird time. Like, there's a lot of stuff they did back in the day that they can't do nowadays.
Oh, hell no. The freestyles that he did, especially with, like, Eddie Guerrero and, like, The Big Show and even The Rock. It was just, like, you can't do none of that now. But it was a wild time. You can sort of see now The Rock's trying to bring back that edgy content and edgy, like, promo stuff, but it can't be like it was back then. We also had Super Cena, and people did not like that. Yeah, Super Cena was just destroying everybody left and right, but I've come to appreciate Cena a little bit more now versus when I was watching him full time in like the 2010s.
I've only seen Cena at a wrestling show twice. One at Battleground and one at the last show I went to was a SmackDown. That was a SmackDown before Fastlane. So I've only seen him in person twice.
In terms of shows, I've only, like, the first time I ever saw Cena was actually my very first wrestling show. This was back 2006 or something like that, and It was a SmackDown taping, and this was when ECW was the thing, like the reboot of ECW. So
Jeez, you're old.
So, bro, I'm 30. I'm basically retired at this point. They taped SmackDown and then they did ECW live on the same night. The dark match at the end of it involved John Cena. So that was the first wrestling show and first time seeing Cena. So I was excited for that. Second ever time was WrestleMania when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics. Those are the only 2 times I've seen him live.
Oh yeah, what'd you think of that WrestleMania when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics?
It took me half a second to realize based on the music. Like, as soon as I started hearing words like what's the beginning of the lyrics? So think you're untouchable. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking John Cena.
It's the base of Thugonomics, I think.
Yeah. Word live. This is basic thugonomic. Besides, obviously, seeing the channel point, the JLD and John Cena, of course. But like in terms of wrestling shows, those are the only 2 times I've seen him. I would love to see him come back as a gimmick. If they did Rock and Cena 3, I could see it coming back. But it's way too ahead of time now. Like that should have happened a while ago if it was going to happen.
I don't think they ever do Rock versus Cena again. We've already seen it twice. I don't think so either. I don't think it will happen again. And I can totally see Cena doing Doctor of Thugonomics one more time, but that would be it.
It would be like to Austin Theory or Waller or somebody like that, not to The Rock. Because The Rock has Roman now, too, that he's eventually going to have to fight.
Honestly, if he was showing up at Mania this year, Cena did, I can totally see him doing Dr. Thugonomics on a wrestler. He should.
That would be... Or imagine on, like, the Judgment Day or something. I know that's, like, completely random, but, like... Imagine talking shit about everybody in the Judgment Day, especially Dominic.
If he did Dominic, that would be hilarious.
He would be like, "Oh, he's a Eddie Guerrero bootleg or something like that," or like just say, "Oh, your dad should have like not had you" or something, some craziness that the crowd's gonna just be like, "Oh shit."
Honestly, I'm trying to go to the Dynasty show in St. Louis for AEW. I'm actually trying to go to that for my next wrestling show.
How far are you from St. Louis? Because like I don't really know how the Midwest works. Like I'm
about an hour away.
Oh wow, okay. So you're not that far. So yeah, I would say go for it.
That's the plan. I'm really trying to go for it because I've never been to an AEW show before. I've never been to one.
It's definitely a different vibe than WWE because with WWE it's like more family oriented and like. I feel like with AEW, there's more like wrestling fans, like older fans versus like kids going. So like, it's more of an aggressive crowd is what I would think of it as. But it's still a fun time. You're still gonna get your fun times there.
Right. Because most of the shows I've been to were WWE shows. I've only been to one like non-WWE wrestling show, and it was a New Japan show.
Wow, that's actually cool. I've never been to a New Japan show. How was that?
It was Music City Mayhem. It was during StarCast when I went when it was in Nashville, Tennessee. It was a really fun show, and there was like a lot of those aggressive like wrestling fans. I was like, there were like some fans arguing like, Jesus Christ, you never see that at WWE shows.
Because people get really like dedicated to their favorite wrestlers. I think GCW is another one where people go wild. I know they're going to be in Philly for WrestleMania weekend doing their show, but a lot of GCW fans are pretty hardcore on the indie scene.
GCW is probably the most hardcore one we have right now.
Yeah, they be doing some glass, tables, ladders, light tubes. Even Combat Zone Wrestling don't do that as much no more.
Like, have you seen those like TikToks where they have like those light tubes and they like shatter them over like someone's head and they let off the air horn?
They always do the air horn, yes. There was one TikTok I saw, and the comments kept saying the guy was like got so bad of a head injury from the drop that like I don't remember what the condition was that you get from like a traumatic hit to the head, but like his arm was moving out, and people were saying that's signs of like he's unconscious or something. So it's pretty scary out there. Like what these bumps are.
So one of my professors on last semester, I told him like, yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan and stuff. He's like, you know that stuff's fake, right? And I was like,
fuck,
like, hey man, it's real to me and stuff. And then he started looking into it. I was like, I thought this stuff was supposed to be fake, but like there's people like jumping off like cages and stuff, like getting hit in the head but with a steel chair. Like it's supposed to be fake, but the injuries are so real, which makes it like real to a lot of people.
Bro, it's amazing what a little bit of research can do for your professor. But Yeah,
Right. And
that's
he
what it
told me a
is.
story one time where he met Kurt Angle on a plane. He
Oh,
sat next to Kurt Angle on a plane. He was on his way back to Pittsburgh, and Kurt was just like struggling to move his neck and stuff because of all the injuries he had.
He won a gold medal with
Which,
a broken freaking neck.
right? Like that just shows you what pro wrestling can do to your body.
They think that they're just like acrobatics, which they are 1000%, but the only difference between like maybe like an acrobatic show or like a circus show is that with wrestling you only get one take, and there's microphone involved, so you got to show your character and you got to be able to put your body on the line in the ring, because if you mess up even by 1 inch with your neck, you're done for.
The one piece of advice I was told by a pro wrestler was you need to get used with dealing with pain, because you're going to deal with a lot of it when you become a pro wrestler.
Yep. And that's why they start out young, like 20s, because if you try that in your 40s,
Like-
50, only some
Like
people
there's
survive.
kids in high school that are like trained to be pro wrestlers already. Like Nick Wayne, for example, he was starting when he was like a little kid,
It's nice to get started as early, but the pain's still gonna be hard no matter what.
right? And it's not like one training session you have your like first match. It takes like about a year for someone to have their first match.
It's practice, and you got to know how to
Right.
do it. And it's not even just learning the moves, like learning how to do a hurricanrana. You have to learn how to do it safely. That's what separates like the good wrestlers from the ones that need to learn better, is how to do it safely.
I saw this one video where Colt Cabana was getting an anonymous call from like a pro wrestling fan, and it was a school teacher. She said she teaches like second grade like kids, and she said all her kids are pro wrestling fans, and she was like, she's in the class one day and her kids were saying that they want to be pro wrestlers when they grow up, and she's like, why would you want to hurt your opponent? They're supposed to protect their opponents. And the kids are like, why do they have to protect their opponents and stuff? And I was just like, oh my god, this teacher like ruined wrestling for these little kids.
Oh my god, because she thinks they're really fighting, like it's a
Yeah.
freaking boxing match. And even I even question boxing sometimes. Like obviously, like they're really fighting, they're really punching each other out, but at the same time, like there has to be some kind of like media involved in there that's bringing the two fighters together, and they probably don't hate each other. Like they're just trying to make a bet and get the bag.
I think it mainly is a money getter, really, for them, because those UFC fighters, and same with boxers as well, like they make bank off of one wrestling match. Like it's nuts.
That's why Mayweather's money with Mayweather, because that man is undefeated and he is a walking attraction because of all the fights he's done. I'm sure he could get back into the ring and then get another fight. Even with like the whole like Mike Tyson and Jake Paul thing, like I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but all I know is Tyson's getting a bag whether he gets knocked the hell out or if Jake gets knocked the hell out or if it goes to unanimous.
I think a lot with the older boxers, like they don't really care if they win or lose. I think they just want to see how much money they make.
They don't care if they lose or not. They're getting millions. They're set for life. They'll be all right.
I'll get knocked out by Jake Paul for $1 million. I'll do it.
Exactly. As long as there's some fame to it, we could talk a little shit on Twitter. I'll hit him up on the side. Yo, I'm gonna talk shit about you, girl. Like, don't take it offensive. And then just post something.
I'll literally message him and be like, hey, you can knock me out in a boxing match so I can make my money.
But they probably make the difference between winner and loser high, so that way,
Yeah.
like they want to win, not just like, hey, I'm fine with $1 million versus if I win, I get 25 million. They probably make it that way on purpose.
Right.
Speaking of boxing, Becky KOing Dom last night. That was a W when Becky Lynch punched him in the face.
I really like Pat McAfee's role in that, where he did like those play things on the screen where he pointed the air like Dominic, and he drew the circle around Becky's like, Becky's like doing the circle punch right here.
They be pointing at audience members too. I noticed that. That's mad funny. Like, oh, like look at this guy's reaction, and then like seeing the move go and play. It's great. And then Pat McAfee, my favorite thing with him is when Jey Uso comes out. When he starts getting on top of the table and starts doing it with him, that's the best part that I like with him.
He used to do the Nakamura dance back when Shinsuke had Rick Boogs with him.
Oh my god, I could only imagine.
Because I remember seeing that live when I was at Royal Rumble.
When I see him on Monday, he's probably gonna be standing on the table because I know Jey Uso is gonna be there. So
He's for sure going to be there.
he is a walking W, Cam. Exactly. For everybody that's in chat, by the way, exclamation point guest in the chat. If you want to follow Luke, go check him out. He is a wrestling lover, wrestling podcast host. So go check him out. We're just talking wrestling tonight. So make sure to hang out with him and check out his stuff after the podcast. With Luke, we'll go to some of the questions here that came from chat, and then I'll ask a few more of mine. I actually have one that actually two that I really want to ask. But before we get to that, Big John asked, are you actively watching both WWE and AEW? Because I feel like it's so hard to invest so much time unless you create content on it.
Oh yeah, I have. At the end of the day, like I am a wrestling fan. I watch a lot of wrestling, and I actively watch both WWE and AEW because for AEW, a lot of times I help review it with Tim as well. And if I miss something, he'll remind me of like this happened as well, and I go back and watch it. So like, yeah, I do watch both AEW and WWE. You know, I do love all wrestling, and every wrestling show is different. I like the diversity of like all wrestling because, you know, WWE is different from AEW, and I do like the competition as well because I think competition is really good for wrestling in today's world.
100%. I think that
And it also gives pro wrestlers more choices for them where to sign, because back then it was always WWE.
Yep.
And before AEW, it was always either WWE, Impact, or New Japan. And now that AEW is a thing, it now gives more wrestlers a place to sign.
I also think AEW has opened the door for other indie promotions too, and has given them a shot to expose themselves a little bit. Like for like AEW at one point had a relationship with TNA. They were doing Impact matches on the AEW shows. They don't do that no more, but they have Forbidden Door with New Japan, and they allow their wrestlers to go to all these other promotions. So it's like kind of like self-promo in a way of all these different places. Even WWE is kind of getting into that too. Shayna Baszler is going to be in GCW for WrestleMania weekend fighting for the first time over there.
And that's the thing about why a lot of people choose AEW is because Tony Khan gives their wrestlers so much more freedom to where it makes it harder for WWE to sign big names. Like WWE, like Okada just signed with AEW. WWE, they were trying to get him, but Okada decided to go to AEW because Tony Khan gives them more freedom. They don't have to relocate, and they can still do like other things outside of AEW, which is great for a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah, like Swerve Strickland, for example. I saw on his Instagram he performed at Rolling Loud. Like, I don't think WWE would have allowed that for him if he was still there. AEW has unlimited money right now. I don't know if you saw how much Okada's making per year. This man is making like $3 million a year, which is like 10 million yen, like per year for like a I don't know how many year contract. And then now Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, she's making $10 million a year. That's insane.
I don't think
wild.
it's not 10 million a year. I think it's 10 million like through like total for as many years. Okay. Yeah, it's 10 million like total years, but both companies were gonna offer that, but I think AEW offered a little more. I can't remember why she chose AEW, but
it's probably something new. It's like the same reason Edge went to AEW. New people, new experiences, checking out like the competition and being able to work with Christian Cage again, because you know they've been together forever. So seeing their rivalry was pretty cool with the TNT title, and you know he's all of our fathers, Christian Cage. But it's nice to see that come back to life again.
I think Edge joined AEW because he said his youngest daughter told him to go work with Uncle Christian again.
That's nice. That's freaking awesome. Because I know they're really, really close, Edge and Christian. I seen him one time at Comic-Con, but I didn't, like, Sting was there, so I went to take a picture with Sting instead, but Christian was kind of, like, right next to me. I should have said hello, but I didn't. I guess I was shy or something.
Oh, trust me, I've had that before. When I was at StarCast, one of the members of the Rock and Roll Express stayed at the same hotel as me, and I was like so nervous to say hi to him because I was like, I wanted to, but at the same time, it was like, I don't know if I should because this guy is probably in the middle of doing something. But I remember I was going the same elevator as him. He looked at me and said, and he saw my T-shirt because I was wearing a Roman Reigns shirt, and he looked at me and I was like, it's like, what's up?
See, that's the same way I think. Like, I'm like, yo, let me not bother them because it's not like they're just hanging around doing nothing. They got stuff to do. So, and like, I don't know if like how their personality is, if they're gonna be like, don't talk to me, if they're just gonna be like, hey, kind of get away from me kind of feel. I kind of just let them be.
That's how I am whenever I see a pro wrestler in public. The one thing I would just do, I would either wave or just say hi and then just kind of walk away.
That's more of what it would be for me too. Funny story. So I used to live in East Harlem, which is like uptown of the city in Manhattan. Mark Henry was actually looking at houses 2 buildings away from where my parents and I used to live when we still lived there. So my dad actually got to say hello to Mark Henry while they were looking at that building. They ended up not buying it, but it was interesting to like be like, oh shit, Mark Henry's here, like in some random ass block in Harlem, out of all places, instead of like downtown where all the rich folks are.
You want to hear another story?
Let's hear it.
So when my dad was in 5th grade, his English teacher was married to a pro wrestling ring announcer. I can't remember this guy's name, but my dad would say anytime there was wrestling in town, Ric Flair would always go to his teacher's house for dinner.
What
whenever
the
wrestling
hell?
was in town.
Oh my
I was just
God.
like, oh my. I would ask my dad, like, did you ever meet Rick? And he's like, no. But his English teacher, that was my dad's neighbor. So Ric Flair would be across from my dad's house having dinner with his English teacher.
It's such a freaking small world, man, of like these superstars. And we forget sometimes that they're humans. We forget that they have friends that they go hang out in people's houses, have dinner, go drink at a bar or something. There was a streamer that was in our chat a while ago, like probably last year. His name is Big Rhino. He is friends with AJ Styles' brother, and they've played Apex together with AJ Styles. It's wild, like all the stories I've heard from people.
That is crazy. I used to play games with some pro wrestlers. I played Jackbox with Johnny Gargano back when he first started streaming.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. It was like probably interactive, right? Like with the chat and all that.
Yeah.
Like whoever
and I used
joined.
to play and I played Fortnite with Colt Cabana.
How was playing with him? Was he good? Or
He was pretty good. We got second. It was good. He was opening up like one of those like chests where you can like get gold. He opened it up and I accidentally took the gold from him. He's like, "What the heck, man?" I was like, "Colt, I am so sorry."
we'll wait for it to reload. Can you hear us, Luke, or is it okay?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I think it might just be on my side, but OBS doesn't even show that it dropped any frames. You know my internet's shit anyway, so apologies.
Got that McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Absolutely. Garbage has a question. Will Luke ever get a mod sword in Tyler's stream?
I mean, never say never. I mean, I can't give myself the sword. That's only Tyler can give that. But if he trusts me with the sword, I will gladly take it. But that is up to him.
Should we get a poll going? Should Luke get a sword in Garbage's stream? See if Garbage does that. Pay for sword. I swear to God. Oh man.
At the end of the day, it's his stream, so if he wants to give it to me, that's cool. But I'm not gonna force him to give it to me. And at the same time, it's his stream. Let him give it to the people that he trusts most, and I respect that.
You can still yell at him though. It's okay. He's gonna be are you shitting my dick right now? So, two of the questions that I really wanna like elaborate on with you is, first off, so you've spoken about PWUnlimited. Let us know about it. What is Pro Wrestling Unlimited? How can they find you? Chat, if you want to follow it, !guest. Let us know about PWUnlimited a little bit more, how it started, and your role as being one of the co-hosts of this podcast.
So PWUnlimited started back in 2015. It has been going on ever since. My friend Tim started it in 2015 because he was looking for something to do, because I think he was getting bored for a little bit. And back in the day, he used to be in the army.
Okay.
And once he got released, he was like a stay-at-home dad and he had a lot of free time on his hands. So I think he decided to give this a shot and just like kept going with it, which is pretty cool, honestly. And it's been like growing ever since. And as far as my role does go, so last year, this is actually a funny story. So last year, Tim sent out a tweet saying that he's looking for a new co-host, because when I first started watching Pro Wrestling Unlimited, I was like a freshman in high school, and the co-host that he had no longer does it anymore because like his life has gotten pretty busy. So he no longer does it. And he also has another co-host that he occasionally co-hosts like PW Unlimited with on rare occasions, and he still does that with us as well. But as far as my role does go, so last year he sent out a tweet that he needed a new co-host. So I reached out to him just out of the blue, because I did not expect to get to be a co-host with him. I said like, hey, I'm interested in being a co-host. I've been watching your streams for a while. Like, what do you say? And he knew me, you know, he's seen me in chat. I think we played Fortnite for a little bit before I started to be a co-host as well. Then he said, do you stream? I was like, yeah, I have a few streams on Twitch for a little bit now. He's like, all right, see you on Monday.
It was like a job interview.
I was like, all right, cool.
Like, do you want my resume or something? Do I need to type something up? Do you need my CV or something? Well, hell yeah, that's freaking awesome.
He's like, all right, see you on Monday. And I was like, all right, cool.
And like, I do see it happen pretty often, whether you're texting me on Discord the link to the Twitch, or if you're putting in an affiliate. Guys, it is there in the guest command. So if you want to follow PW Unlimited and check out some of the stuff there. You said that he also streams it on YouTube as well?
Yes.
For any of my YouTubers out
He
there?
has more subscribers on YouTube than he does on Twitch. On YouTube, he has about, I want to say, 170,000 subscribers.
Oh, y'all heard it here, folks. So
yeah,
definitely check that out. It's a multi-stream though, right? Like it's done at the same time.
It is a multi-stream.
Whichever one you're comfortable with, like you'll be able to go to each platform.
Right, because when I first started, it was strictly on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Twitch started to like grow, he expanded to both Twitch and YouTube. But when I first started being a co-host, I think he would live stream it on Twitch, and then he would upload it to YouTube later.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's how I would do it here with like this podcast. But I think it's more of like the editing thing, like at least for me.
I mean, personally, I hate editing, so
I enjoy it, but like only when I know what I'm doing. Like if I have like my vision, then editing is pretty easy for me.
Thing is, I don't know what I'm doing.
If you ever need tips, let me know. I mean, I think you've seen me like do some editing in like my VC when I've gone on general, but
probably.
But Filmora has been a blessing for me for that. So if you ever want to go over it, I'm more than happy to help you out. It's straightforward once you get the logic of it. Then you can use any program you like as long as you're comfortable with it. Hell yeah, guys, check out PWUnlimited. I've been there many different times. They usually go live after the shows are concluded. So like after Monday Night Raw at 11 o'clock, they'll do a quick stream, as well as during the AEW shows, Friday Night SmackDown. I think you guys do NXT as well, if I'm not mistaken, or sometimes.
We don't do NXT. Sometimes he'll do like their premium live events, like their pay-per-views, but we don't really do NXT anymore.
Okay. So just the main shows then. So like the AEW
just like
shows and Raw, SmackDown.
Raw, AEW, Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown.
Do you consider Rampage like a full show? Because isn't it like an hour?
Personally, no. I feel like it's just there.
I would consider Collision more of a show than Rampage. Like Collision seems more fun than seeing 1 hour. I feel like Rampage is just a recap of Dynamite, and they just have it there as like the extra.
Rampage is their new AEW Dark, and I think Ring of Honor is their new Dark Elevation.
Fair enough. It's just weird how Ring of Honor, you gotta like pay for a whole nother subscription if you want to watch it live, and then like their pay-per-views and stuff.
Honestly, I feel like Ring of Honor is their new Dark Elevations, where it's where mainly you see guys who aren't on AEW TV, and Rampage is just like another like their new Dark.
One of the superstars I've been wanting to see back on there is Zach. So I forgot his last name. From the Jersey Shore, JWoww's boyfriend. I gotta find his last name. I forgot his freaking name. Zach, Jersey Shore. He goes Zach Clayton. There you go. He made a few appearances in AEW Dark and Ring of Honor, but he's like the boyfriend of JWoww from the Jersey Shore. So like I've been wanting to see him like get back into the ring, but I haven't seen him live in a while. It's been like maybe like a year or so. He's just doing his own thing. So Ring of Honor is kind of like a NXT for AEW, pretty much, except you got to pay extra to see it, which doesn't make sense. But then you can see Dynamite and Rampage and Collision on TNT and TBS. Let me see, because I'm backed up on questions. So chat, I do apologize if I don't get to answer your questions right away. I want to make sure I get everybody handled, but I do apologize if I do have to miss some of the questions here. But I did like one of Big John's questions, and I want to see what your feedback is on this. So Big John asked earlier, you get to pick one wrestler, whoever it is, dead or alive, and you get to have a podcast with them. You get to interview them, whatever. But after that episode is done, you have to shut your entire podcast down permanently. Who are you picking?
Ooh, I would probably say Eddie Guerrero. Honestly,
I like that.
I would love to just have a conversation with Eddie and pick his brain. That would be an amazing time. I don't even care if I have to like shut down my podcast permanently just to interview him. I would just love to like interview the guy or talk to him.
That would be a great series finale for the Laying It Down podcast. If that was my situation, pick one wrestler and then shut it down. Eddie Guerrero would be perfect. Sad situation with him though.
It was, yeah.
Have you seen the Dark Side of the Ring with his episode? Because bro, it is.
I think
dark.
his was combined with Chris Benoit. I'm pretty sure.
I thought he had his own Benoit. Well, I thought Benoit's was 2 parts. Or maybe not.
His was 2 parts, but in the first part, they talked a lot about him and Eddie.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah, because that was part of what made Benoit go in his emotional roller coaster before whatever happened. Dark Side of the Ring is insane. If anybody hasn't seen Dark Side of the Ring, which I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, you know what it is, definitely check it out, because there's a lot of stuff that's there that you probably haven't heard of before, like behind the scenes of the wrestling industry. And it's wild what these wrestlers go through, whether it's alcohol, drugs, pain meds. It's not just doing hurricanranas and just make money. There's a lot of dark side to it, unfortunately.
No, because the Chris Benoit episode, that was a pretty emotional episode. There were like multiple parts where I almost cried, and like there was some stuff I already knew, but there was some stuff that I didn't know. Like when Eddie passed away, they talked about how they found him like unresponsive in the bathroom, the hotel bathroom. Like I knew that, but I didn't know it was Chavo that walked in on him. Like
Yeah.
if I was Chavo, I would have been a mess.
And I think he was. That's the thing.
He
Like,
was.
'cause
Yeah, he was a mess.
Eddie was still somewhat unconscious but breathing when Chavo was holding him, but then it was in Chavo's arms that he unfortunately did pass. So that alone, and then just how they explained Benoit when he found out, like when they told him down in the hotel lobby what happened, it was the beginning of just an emotional train wreck. Rightfully so. That's for anybody that would feel that way, but holy crap, it was such a sad episode. One of the episodes though that is insane that I wanted to watch because I never knew about it was the plane ride from hell.
I don't remember that one.
That's the one where all the wrestlers were on the airplane going from London back to Connecticut, and everybody was drunk and on some kind of pills, and they were rowdy, fighting on the plane while they're 30,000 feet in the air. Ric Flair was exposing himself to flight attendants. It was bad. It was really bad. And like flight delays and stuff.
I think one that I saw was the Von Erich one, which that was a pretty crazy one as well.
All those freaking episodes, man. And it gives you a different perspective.
It really does. Like I introduced my professor to Dark Side of the Ring, and he said I'll definitely check it out, and he saw it and he was just like, this is just some dark stuff.
Owen Hart too. Owen Hart's incident, that one
that was another one I saw. Like that was nuts as well. And they do like a really good job of like trying to recreate that with like their own graphics and stuff.
And it's insane how like to this day Owen's wife sides with AEW. Not that she sides with them, but like she just wants nothing to do with WWE, to the point where now they have like a Owen Hart championship tournament on the other side because she just wants nothing to do with WWE, or doesn't want Owen Hart to be involved with that because of how they screwed him over, and just it resulted in his death.
It's because she wants WWE to feel responsible for his death, so that she doesn't want WWE to make money off his name. That's why that's why Owen Hart isn't in the Hall of Fame, because she's against it. No. She doesn't want.
She said no.
She said no.
It sucks that that's the case, and I don't remember if people were held accountable. All I know is they did a settlement, which isn't the same as people being held responsible. It's more of just like, sorry for what happened, here's some cash, which cash only cures so much.
Right. And the rumor is that Natalia, she's trying to get like a Hart movie in the works. How like we saw the Von Erichs, she's trying to get like a Hart family movie to be in the works as well. And the big question with that is, how is Owen going to be portrayed?
Yeah, exactly. And you got to be careful with that, because you know the family has to approve of it before any kind of like.
It's mainly his wife though. It's mainly his wife that has to approve it.
And it even influences into Sting. If you remember when Sting came down from above, like on the Dynamite before he retired, Tony Khan went to her and said if it's okay, just because of that courtesy. We're getting to 9 o'clock. Luke, is it okay if we do another 15 minutes, or do you have to go? Or
I'm okay with doing another 15 minutes.
All right, cool. I'm just making sure. I want to be considerate of your time. For everybody that's in chat, ! guest, go check out Luke, check out PWUnlimited. He's a great guy, always showing love in everybody's streams, trolling as much as he can, but great guy and somebody that I'm glad to have in the JLD universe. So definitely go check him out by typing ! guest. Let's do a few more questions from the chat. I'll go to Good Vibes, where he says, give me your top 4 worst wrestlers ever.
God, I don't know. I know I used to hate the Shield at first.
Did you? I love them.
When I was little, I hated them because they would always beat up my favorite wrestlers.
Oh, Ryback. They triple power bombed Ryback. I remember that too.
I know. I also used to hate Punk as well, but then Punk grew on me.
I freaking love Punk, especially after he left with the podcast that he did with Cole Cabana, even though that became a shit show itself.
I think Wade Barrett was someone I used to hate back in the day as well.
Yeah.
Who else did I just not like? Alberto Del Rio, I hate him to this day.
There's personal reasons why I'm not a fan of him anymore after
Right.
all of those things that he's done. So I try to stay away from him. He was a great performer, like he did his character great, but like stuff with Paige and just in general his personality, I wouldn't want to be a part of that or involved with Del Rio. Yeah, he can go. Let him know, Cam.
Who else? I'm trying to think who else I just didn't like. Miz was someone else that I didn't really care for back in the day.
You were like the angry girl in the crowd.
Yeah. Jack Swagger was another person.
Oh my god, him and Zeb Coulter like sneaking across our borders, what did he say? The all-American American. I'm like, oh my god, bro, you wild for that.
Oh yeah, there's stuff that they did that they can't do today.
Absolutely not in today's society. It cannot happen anymore.
Right.
Yeah, we the people. Yes,
we the people. Yes.
Which, like, I get it. He was like an American, like he tried to portray like your typical American wrestler, but yo, Zeb didn't give a fuck with what he was saying, which I'm sure that kind of came from Vince anyway, because it's like Vince has to approve everything that's said in the script, but like it's wild what they got away with back then. So what do you think of Cody? I'm gonna do that question, then I have one question that I have.
I think Cody is a very talented guy and he needs to finish his story, and I think WWE needs to have him finish his story mainly as like a business standpoint, because he is just so over right now to where you kind of have to put him over right now.
They would say the same discussion about LA Knight though.
I would give LA Knight some time, honestly, because right now it's a little too early. Cody's been over for forever. Like, fans have loved him ever since he came back to WWE.
Which was a wild surprise when he faced Seth. Let him know, right. Cam. Let him know. JLD's like, nah, have Roman beat him. Nah, but he does need to win this.
Which is crazy why fans were so excited for him to return to WWE, because during his like last stint in AEW, fans were hating him. Like, he was getting booed on every Dynamite. Fans were just tired of seeing Cody, but then when he made that jump to WWE, people started liking him.
That, and I think it was the fact that he was one of the first like top competitors that made the jump from AEW to WWE. Usually it was the other way around. So to see an executive vice president and one of the founders of the competition leap back to WWE, that alone is a shock for people. So to see him return at the biggest stage of them all, I can only imagine how crazy like people were feeling, and just seeing that like transition happen. And he's become the new John Cena. Like, everybody, like, he's become the family man.
The stuff that he does for the fans is nuts. Like, he's gonna be the best man for a random fan's wedding. He's paying for that guy's bachelor party. Like, he bought so many kids tickets to WrestleMania this year.
The wrestling club, they're in Brooklyn. They're not that far from me, and like, it's cool that they're going too. That's freaking awesome. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. Like, I think you were here when I told the story about when I was front row at SmackDown, the kid next to me got the belt. Like, that was great to see what he does for.
I wonder what would happen if a fan tried to like swipe that belt from a little kid while Cody's trying to give it to a kid.
Then they're gonna be an asshole, and somebody's recording. Like, everybody's recording Cody come down the ring. Like, there is not gonna be a moment where no one's recording. So if you try to snatch that belt from a kid, oh, best believe that TikTok's gonna find you. TikTok's gonna find you quick.
Oh, trust me, I'm waiting for that moment, because I want to see if someone's actually gonna do it. And I feel like somebody will try to do it. I don't know if it'll be on actual television or a house show. You never know.
They gotta be drunk though, because like as a wrestling fan, because as a wrestling fan, you understand certain things, and some things are pretty much common sense. When you see Cody Rhodes giving his belt to a kid, you leave it alone. Like, that's just how it is.
You see so many fans just be complete a-holes and stuff. I don't know if you've seen the video of like fans just being creepy towards wrestlers as well.
Bro, it's sad. Like, it's honestly sad.
It's really sad. It really is.
Especially towards like the woman. Like, they get a lot of shit like too. Like, there was an incident back in 2018, 2019. Like, Nia Jax was holding Alexa Bliss on like her shoulders, and like a fan just like slapped Alexa in the air.
That was a little kid though.
Yeah, but still,
that was a little kid.
But where is the kid learning that from?
Right.
Like, that's what it comes down to.
Like, Alexa did do an interview about that, and when she found out it was a little kid, she's like, okay, I have more sympathy now. You know, kids can be kids, but still,
it's like, it sucks that they have to deal with that and whatnot. So I do feel for them 100%. But there are some asshole fans, and even the ones that try to run into the ring. Like, don't you realize you can get your ass beat?
The number one rule with going to a wrestling show is don't touch the wrestlers.
Yep. Do not try to fight them. please understand it's a show, because people get too into it and they think, oh, I'm gonna be the one to save Cody from losing to Roman. I'll try to go into the ring and fight Roman. Nah, Roman's really gonna punch you in the face. Like, once you're in there, you're fair game for any of them. Security will punch you in the head too.
Yeah, I did see that video as well, and that was actually at a AAA show, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, a fan like grabbed Scarlett Bardor by the neck, and like Scarlett's opponent had to like save her.
Oh my god, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I hope they ban that guy from like not just AAA but every wrestling show ever.
Did you see that video of like a local show in Mexico? So like there was this girl who was like, I guess part of the show, like she was on top of a female audience member and she was like jumping on top of her. Like, I guess it's part of like the two wrestlers fighting. And there was a guy next to her and he decided for some stupid freaking reason to like just go and say yeah and slap the girl's ass. And when
I actually did not see that. No,
I'll send it to you after. But the wrestler ended up looking at him and just legit slapping him in the face. And I'm surprised he got home safe, because I'm sure that locker room would have loved to beat the hell out of him for that. Dude was a weirdo. Yes, it was freaking creepy. Like, bro, it's a show. They're not into you. They're putting on a show for you guys. Don't think they like you. That's what it is. I saw a tweet from Bianca Belair and she said at one point a dude ran up on her car at the middle of the night and it spooked her. People are messed up. People get obsessed. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of somebody, but don't be obsessed, man.
I saw a story where a man was like scanned by a fake Liv Morgan account asking for money.
Oh, I saw that.
And this dude
too.
sold his house and sent all that money from his house to that fake account, thinking that he was helping Liv. And Liv had to send out a tweet saying, I never ask my fans for money, so don't send money to fake wrestling accounts. Like, there's been so many stories about that.
First of all, rule number one, if Liv Morgan is messaging you, it is not her. She is doing her own thing. That's what check marks are for. That's why you look at the follower list of how many people are following them. It's fake, bro. Like, they're like, these accounts are wild. They will try to get money, and if Liv Morgan finds out, like the real Liv Morgan, she's not reimbursing you. You're screwed. You sold your house. GG's.
Right, because like a lot of times there's certain wrestlers that never respond to fans. It's rare occasions that they do. And when you get a response from like a wrestling account, make sure it's actually them.
Exactly. So one of the last questions I had, and then I'll do like probably one or two before we finish it off for the day. First of all, Luke, thank you for being on. I appreciate you, and it's been great. It's been nice conversating with you without exclamation point pump spamming in my chat.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You mentioned already who your favorite wrestlers were, who your least favorite wrestlers were. Who are some of the wrestlers that you have met in real life? And the reason I asked this question is because, like, on your Instagram, obviously, like, you had like a pic with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Like, who are some of the wrestlers that you have met already that you've gotten to take pics with, or just like see in person, or maybe even conversate with?
So first wrestler that I ever like met and got a picture with was James Storm.
Wow. Okay.
That was the first time I got a picture with a wrestler. That was the first autograph I got from him as well.
Beer money.
Oh yeah. Like, I didn't really talk to him that much. I just said like, how you doing? I'm a big fan and stuff. He said, thank you. Are you going to SummerSlam? I'm like, yep. Then I got a picture with him. I said, it was great meeting you.
That's awesome, man.
And like some other wrestlers I met at StarCast as well was Diamond Dallas Page. He was by far the nicest wrestler I've ever met. He was so talkative. He had such high spirit. Like, he was the nicest wrestler that I've ever met.
You'd be surprised at who like you think are the nicest people, or you might think somebody's like might be rude based on like how their demeanor might look, but then they're just the nicest guys, or maybe even vice versa. They might look approachable, but then you're just like, oh, maybe they're not as nice as I thought.
And then I also met Ric Flair at that show as well, which his line took forever. Like, I almost didn't even get to meet him because I think he like canceled early, but I was in line forever just to meet him. And I tried talking to him, but he wouldn't talk back. It was really just get a picture, an autograph, then you're done.
I've heard things about Ric Flair, even like people going up to him in bars and he's like, no, I don't want to pick. I've seen that.
Which is fair, honestly.
Yeah, like if it's a random bar and you're just like see him, it's like with John Cena, where like that random fan was like, oh, can you just say you can't see me? But he's like, oh, can I just have dinner with my friends? Like stuff like, if you remember that.
Right.
Like, it's like, that's definitely understandable. But if you're liking an appearance, like, you know, I would at least try to interact with people. Obviously there's thousands of people waiting for me, but you know, at least like one question or just like a conversation for half a second. He was at Comic-Con in September, but I wasn't going Saturday, so I didn't get to like see him. But I know a few people that got pics with him.
And then I also got to meet Johnny Gargano and Karrion Kross and Scarlett the next day as
Hell
well.
yeah.
Johnny was super nice. He said, "Hey, what's your name?" I said, "Luke." He's like, "Luke, let's get a picture." And then when I met Karrion Kross and Scarlett, they were just super quiet. Like I got to shake Karrion Kross's hand. He's like, "How you doing?" and stuff. But they were just super quiet. Like I could barely hear anything that Karrion Kross was saying.
Interesting. Okay.
And then like a few months later, I had like a VIP pass to a live event where you get to meet certain wrestlers as well. I got to meet Tegan Knox and the Good Brothers.
Hell yeah.
During like backstage and stuff.
Yeah, they do
that. Tegan Knox is an absolute sweetheart. If anyone says anything bad about her, I will fight you. She's an absolute sweetheart. And the OC, cool guys. They're homies.
They're pretty chill.
Really are.
They're really chill.
They're pretty chill as well. I just remember that night I got like so many autographs. I got an autograph from Cody Rhodes. He signed my belt, like my Nightmare belt. It wasn't like the Nightmare belts that he had on TV. It was like a cheaper one, but he still signed it for me. I got a pic with Seth Rollins. I got an autograph from Zoe Stark.
Nice.
I tried to get a picture with Bray Wyatt, but I had my phone out and he was like walking past. I was trying to get a selfie with him, but he just walked away, and I was like, dang it.
Yeah, that's usually the case, like for a lot of them, unfortunately. Like they have so many people that would love to take photos, but they got to get to the back. So I get that. I know with the VIP experience, like the VIP experience is where you get to do the ring, like the ring walk, and then you get to meet the superstars in the back, right? That's what it is.
It is worth every penny, and they do it so well. You get to get your picture taken like next to the ring. You can't go in the ring though. They will not let you do that, but you get to like stand on the steel steps with the title, take your picture next to the ring, take a picture, and then they take you to a room where you get to meet like certain wrestlers. I think the producer is the one that chooses which wrestler you meet. Sometimes it's like 3, sometimes it's 2, and you never know which wrestler you're gonna meet. Like I didn't care who we're meeting. Like I just thought it was really cool. I got to meet like WWE wrestlers while they were under contract with WWE.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's
because it's really hard to do that. Like independent wrestlers, it's easy.
They can go anywhere. Yeah.
Right. But WWE wrestlers, it's really hard.
And like whether it's like your main eventers like Seth Rollins or Cody Rhodes, or not as famous wrestlers, it's still an amazing experience because you're never going to forget that, especially with a VIP experience like that. Those get pricey, but definitely worth it if you're going to have those memories forever.
And the rules with those, as far as getting your stuff signed, they only let you get 2 things signed per wrestler, and they give you stuff that can be signed. So like they give you like a book with like pages of like all the wrestlers. They give you a hat as well, like a mini championship title.
Cool. Okay.
It's really cool. Like they give you stuff to sign even if you don't have stuff that can't be signed.
For the Madison Square Garden shows, you know how they have like the day after Christmas, they do their shows in MSG. I want to take my dad there for this coming Christmas. We've gone every year except obviously 2020, but we've gone every year since 2019 to that show. This year, I want to do the front row VIP experience and give him that, because he's the reason I started watching wrestling in the first place. So I think I want to give him that experience, like as a thank you for everything that we've been able to build because of just watching wrestling because of him.
And that's the awesome thing, because my dad, he went to a lot of the wrestling shows with me as well. Like every wrestling show I've been to was with either my dad or another family member, and that's honestly just the coolest thing.
And they'll never forget it either, like, and then having that father-son bond too. Like I went with Mrs. JLD obviously to the SmackDown. She had a great time. I want to give my dad the same experience, so that's like the whole thing, and it's like that nice experience. So imagine seeing him be able to like be by the ring, meet a few wrestlers, maybe even get Cody Rhodes like a selfie like at the front ramp or something. He's gonna remember that forever.
Yeah. So when I was in 8th grade, I went to a live event with my dad, and Chris Jericho was there, and that's back when he would always wear the scarves and he had the list of Jericho. So my dad screamed at Jericho, "Take the girly scarf off," and he was like, "Shut up."
Oh my god.
And my dad just started laughing.
You get involved in it too.
Those are so much. Live events are so much fun because you can really like interact with the wrestlers.
They have more fun
as well.
They don't have to go by a script. They're just having more fun.
Because the difference is, for those live events, they're not rushed for time, so they have time to like interact with fans compared to like on TV. They're rushed for time. Like, all right, you gotta get out so we can move on to the next thing.
Yep, exactly. And I noticed that too in MSG, where like Becky Lynch would literally take selfies with almost everybody she can before she even gets to the back. Same with Charlotte and all of the main card wrestlers. Cody Rhodes is known for that already, but like to see everybody else doing that is pretty cool.
Right. That's why live events sell out pretty quickly, because people want to interact with the wrestlers, and they know that because those wrestlers aren't rushed for time during live events.
So they do whatever they want. All right. So before we close out the podcast, I want to get 2 questions finished up before we close out. First one is from Games Matter. He has a scenario. Say Cody wins at Mania, which he will, according to Games Matter. I still acknowledge Roman Reigns, by the way, Games Matter, so just know that. Say Cody wins at Mania, which he will, but never know, I guess. Do you see Cody defending the title versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think eventually he might, but it's really hard to tell because it's so long out. I've seen a lot of photoshops that he might face Logan Paul for some reason. I don't know why.
That wouldn't be good, at least right now.
Right now it wouldn't be good, but I don't know. You never know.
Unless
I would love to see Cody versus Randy, but you'd have to turn Randy heel. You can't turn Cody heel.
Yeah, Cody. It's the Cena treatment. Now you can't turn Cody heel at all because of like how much popularity he has with like everybody as a face. So it's impossible now. Unless they really wanted to risk it all. And then the final question. Well, actually, you know what? I'll ask one question before we go. But for Garbage, I'll combine his 2 questions into one. First, we eating, bro? Second, when will Luke get to meet the viewers champion?
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
if I'm in Chicago, I'll let you know.
Yeah. But I'm pretty far away from Chicago, though.
You're like more down south, right? Because you said you're like right by Missouri, St. Louis.
I'm closer to St. Louis than I am Chicago.
Fair enough. Okay. If for some reason I'm at Dynasty, I will let you know. Which I don't know, but yeah.
Or if I go back to New York.
If you're in New York, and that goes for anybody in chat, let me know. I'll try to clear up my schedule so I can, have like a lunch or dinner or whatever, meet for a few minutes if it has to be a few minutes, just to have that FaceTime. Absolutely. And then my final question before I let you go, Luke, is WrestleMania is next Saturday. Someone on Instagram tried to correct me and be like, oh, WrestleMania is not next Saturday, it's the week after. I'm like, no, it's not. It's next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday for WrestleMania. 1, are you excited? And 2, what do you think is going to happen at WrestleMania? Like, let's say Rock Roman Cody.
I'm really excited for WrestleMania. I really am. And I think Rock and Roman are probably going to win tag match. And I think Cody's going to finish his story. And I think Cody versus Roman, the match is going to be really overbooked, but hey, give it to me.
I think it's going to be a wild night too. And I agree with you. The way they're talking about bloodline rules makes me think they're winning the tag match. Something's going to happen where Cody gets pinned by Roman, and then it's going to make them look powerful for the next day. And it's going to make everybody get pissed off when they leave the arena that night.
Because what I think is going to happen is, I don't know if you guys saw on last night's Raw, but I think it was during the Johnny Gargano Awesome Truth segment.
Paul was in the back. Paul was in the back with Drew.
Paul was in the back talking to Drew. So hey, what if Drew hits a Claymore on Seth and then Rock pins Cody?
I like that. I kind of forgot like how that would mix in, but I could see the ref getting hit and then Drew coming in hitting a Claymore on Seth. And I don't know if the bloodline's gonna interfere on the tag match. I feel like Rock and Roman have it on their own, but maybe we'll probably see Solo. I for sure seeing Solo night 2.
I think I also made a prediction, like what if Jacob Fatu joined the bloodline on night 2 and when they're like, Cody, the bloodline's out, Cody's gonna finish the story, oh no, Jacob Fatu, then Roman wins.
I can't wait to make content for WrestleMania for night 2, because if Roman somehow wins, I am going to have the funniest videos out there, and so many people are gonna be so mad at my videos that it's just gonna make them skyrocket. They're like, oh, why is Roman still champion, blah blah blah, oh, you're riding Roman hard. Like, bro, no, I acknowledge my tribal chief.
The only way I would see Roman retaining at Mania is if they want him to break Hulk Hogan's record.
That's the only reason at this point, because there's no besides Hogan, it's Bob Backlund and San Martino.
Those records are not getting touched.
Yeah, because they're too long. That was back in the WWF days when shows were like once a month or something, right? Those were like...
Right.
So it wasn't like a weekly televised show. So that's why their reigns are so long. Now it's a different like schematic. So there's no way they could touch that now. If they wanted to have Roman beat that final like San Martino reign, I think WWE is going to lose a lot of customers in the process.
All I'm gonna say is it's gonna feel really weird to see Roman not the champion.
Same. I know Cody's gonna win, but I'm still gonna be sad about it because Roman's reign, no pun intended, had the most powerful aura to it. Like, this man was unstoppable. This man, even though he only defended a certain amount of times per year, he put people in seats just from appearances on SmackDown. Like, when I went to MSG for SmackDown in July, I went specifically because Roman was going to be there. Even if he wasn't fighting, it was just an amazing time. So I'm definitely gonna miss that time with Roman as champion.
It's just weird to see what he's gonna do, like, since he won't be the champion, because he's been the champion for so long where it feels like if you see him do anything else not as the champion, it almost feels like a downgrade.
Yup. They've hyped them up so much that it does seem like a downgrade, unless they just have it Roman Rock at SummerSlam. Like, if The Rock does betray Roman, that I could see. Or maybe Roman has a rematch with Cody. You can do that and like to kind of buffer out some time until like The Rock is available again. Or maybe Roman and Solo fight if some craziness happens with that, or see what happens at Mania first. I'm guessing Roman's gonna go on a break and then return his face. That's all I could really think of, Cam. But who would he go after making so many enemies as a member of the Bloodline? That's the main question. But Luke, thank you so much for your time here. It has been an absolute pleasure. Exclamation point guest in the chat, guys. Go check out Luke. Go check out PWUnlimited. He's probably already in your chat, already following you, and is probably ready to troll the hell out of you if you have him as a VIP or mod in your channel. So definitely go check him out. Luke Pedtke in the building. Guys, give it up for Luke. Put your ones in the chat for him. Acknowledge Luke. He is a W, man. And Garbage even put a message earlier that I liked. That was like a compliment towards Luke. I don't know if I can scroll up that much, but okay, all trolling aside, I do love and appreciate Luke very much. Always love to have a fun time with us, and is a valued member of the community, whether it's our stream. I always see you in Vibe stream, Garbage's stream, Rose stream, everywhere. You're a W, man, so keep it up, and pleasure having you on here, brother.
My pleasure. It was fun to be here.
Absolutely. So with that, Luke, I hope you have a great rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And for everybody in chat, we gotta go raid Dank. So we're gonna hang out for a little bit, and then we're gonna go show love to Dank. I don't know if he's live yet, but we'll wait if we have to. Luke, thank you again, and I hope to see you in chat soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Have a good night.
You too.
And for everybody that's coming in from the Laying It Down podcast, as we said before, this is a podcast for all things wrestling. If you want to get to know some amazing wrestling content creators, wrestling fans, and whatnot, this is the place to be. We will be uploading this to YouTube and Spotify in the next coming days after we run some edits on it. So definitely take a look, and it's going to be a freaking W. Luke, again, thank you for being a part of the Laying It Down podcast.